Are we live on her? Are we live on her?
We're live on Channel 4. Don't say Fectra or Bougadaire.
Or see you next Tuesday.
Well, welcome back everyone to another episode of G&T Sips and Giggles. This is our one for the road. Hello, Miss Legs.
Hello, Mr. Mushaladon.
So this is your favourite little pit stop for a light-hearted catch-up on all of the news that's got everyone talking. And in case you didn't know, I am Glenn.
And I'm Tina, your queen of sass, class, and ready to dive into all the juicy headlines, laughs, and tea you didn't even know you needed.
Yes, today we are catching up on all things celebrity news, bizarre stories, and a few things that might just make you go,
I know.
So pour yourself a little something cheeky, sit back, and let's get into it. Ooh, thank you. Well, Miss Legs, what have you been up to? It has been a whole, not even 24 hours since I last seen you.
I know. It's been the busiest weekend of Tina for, I would say, at least maybe 16 years.
It was a jam-packed weekend. It was
Friday night, Monkstown Social Club. Saturday afternoon was our big return, the G&T karaoke show every Saturday in Union Street Bar, serving bottomless brunch,
for 35
gorgeous food.
From Spaghetti Arms.
Tables. Yes.
That you can sit behind.
Yeah. And the most up-to-date, high-production, unbelievably funny karaoke drag queen / roller coaster bumper donkey ride.
Unrivaled, I would say, in Belfast.
Completely.
Over 200,000 songs.
Plug. Then we were up at the crack of dawn on Sunday morning, you and I, because we then were invited over to the Forth River Bowling Club.
We were
where we done the Mother's Day annual crazy bingo.
It was crazy.
Then we hoofed it Sunday afternoon at just after 3 o'clock, and then we made it up to do our first ever Tina's Variety
Extravaganza.
I couldn't get that word out there. So Tina's Variety Extravaganza, and it in the Grand Ballroom. And we had an absolute hoot. But my word, we were done. We were wrecked. But we lived on the energy from the audiences. We really did. And from the bottom of our two hearts, we would just want to say a huge big thank you to everybody who came out.
Yes.
For the weekend, for Mother's Day, for pre-Mother's Day, and we're lovely and happy.
Absolutely.
Everybody was happy.
Absolutely. I mean, we had over 150 people in the Devonish. We had sold out the Forth River Bowling Club, and for our first gig back in Union Street, we had also sold out. It was packed. Now, the vibe and the atmosphere on Saturday in Union Street was mental. Lots of really positive feedback as well about the show, which was great.
And also, I want to shout out to the staff in all these venues, the door staff, the floor staff, the bar staff, the managers, the assistant managers, and the owners.
Yeah.
You know, they take a huge, big chance on acts all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and without them, this wouldn't be possible. So hats off. What's that word you say? Kudos or something?
Kudos. Is it kudos? Kudos.
I didn't know what
to them. You sound like you're Hawk 2, girl.
Oh, honey. No, that's a different episode.
That's a different episode. But look, we need to get on with the latest updates from this week. So I want to talk to you about, I don't know if you've seen it in the news this week. Once upon a time when we were doing our Iconic Tonic, I spoke to you about my favourite comedian of all time, who was Katherine Ryan. Now, she's a Canadian comedian who lives in the UK, and she's been a big advocate for LGBTQ, speaking out really just on rights in general. But sad news this week, she was diagnosed with melanoma. This is the second time, and she's only 41. Only 41.
Skin cancer.
Skin cancer, yeah, Now, from what I've understood...
I remember, sorry to cut in, I remember when she had it first time.
Yeah. She recently had surgery to remove a cancerous mole from her arm.
Oh, God.
But, I mean, in true Katherine style, I have to say, she has now came out, and as she's always done, she's using her platform to encourage people to go and get themselves checked. And really just being an advocate for proactive health, personal health especially things like moles, which you get all over your body, and they're very difficult. Sometimes they can just look a bit, nah.
Look at that very, very close friend of ours who just last week on Wednesday went back to the skin clinic.
Oh.
After 5 years.
Oh, yes.
Cancer-free.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, I'm delighted for them.
Yeah.
Absolutely delighted for them. But it does
I don't want
you...
to say the name.
No, I know exactly who you're talking about, though.
Yeah.
They're a delight. An absolute delight. But it does show you just the importance of going for like regular screenings.
Checkup.
Especially if you've got dodgy moles or you've got new moles that weren't there before. Like, you should go because ultimately early detection is the best deterrent. Like, really,
it is.
That's the word.
It really is.
You said prevention. I was thinking deterrent, but actually you're right. It's like weapons of mass destruction. We've got a deterrent.
Do you know something? Something really weird happened there, and we've caught it on camera. Many years ago, I would say it would be about good 16, 17 years ago, just after, you remember Kate?
Yes.
And she passed away.
Oh, yes.
And we were in the dressing room, myself and Candy Carousel and a few other queens, and they kept saying to me, the window was open, Tina, there's a pigeon that keeps coming in. I'm going to cut this really short. This was my brush with cancer. The pigeon came back a third time, and I told nobody to move. The pigeon flew into the room. It waited at the windowsill and then it flew in. They all ran out. I stayed there, and the pigeon hit wee Kate's photo. It fell off the wall and it landed on the seat. Now, wild animals don't like you to touch them, to go near them. That pigeon waited, and I walked over and I put my 2 arms around it real calmly, and I lifted it. I went to the window and I said, thank you. When the girls came back in, I have it on video.
Wow.
I recorded it. And I said, that pigeon, there's a message in that. 3 days later, I was getting ready for work, and I'll never forget, I was putting my bra on, and I put my clasp at the back, and this massive lump, like a golf ball, went to the doctor, and she took one look at it, and she said to me, have you had breakfast? I said, no, sent me straight to the Royal. Within an hour, I was face down in theatre, and they cut me clean open.
Wow.
And gouged it all out. I have a big scar on my back, 11 stitches.
Wow.
11 days later, I got a phone call to say from the consultant that it was benign.
Okay.
But whatever it was very, very aggressive.
Wow.
But not to worry, because they cut it all out. And she said to me, how did you find it? Because it was growing from the inside. There was nothing on my back. And I said, let's put my bra on for work. She was a wee bit confused, to say the least. But do you know something? Do you ever see, ever since that pigeon flew in, landed on the chair, knocked wee Kate's photograph off the wall, that stayed in my head, that pigeon was trying to send me a message. And I believe that was wee Kate saying, there's something going on that's not good, and you need to go and fix it. And as soon as I found that lump, I went, oh my God, what's that? I actually thought it was something stuck to my back, like sticky tape.
Yeah.
When I discovered it was in my body, I was like, oh my God. But I've seen straight away, early detection, straight to the doctor, straight to the hospital, straight on the operating chair.
Well, you wouldn't get that in most countries anyway, sure, you wouldn't, especially for free.
No, I was so blessed and I was so lucky. I went back a couple of times for the checkups and everything. But you know what? Let's wish her all the very best.
Absolutely.
I really, really do. I mean, there's celebrities that are openly discussing health issues, and it's so good because they can raise so much public awareness and potentially save lives.
Yeah, and the Jade Goody effect. Do you remember when Jade Goody had her ovarian cancer? The amount of screening that got done, and it was the same with Sarah Hardin as well from Girls Aloud.
Yeah,
there was a lot of people then went and got breast screening and stuff done on the back of her. So I think definitely.
I mean, it shook the entire younger generation when they think, oh, it's just something.
Yeah.
It's nothing too sinister. But it's actually worth going and saying, could you have a look at this, please?
Yeah.
And if you're still not happy, always get a second opinion.
100%. 100%.
Listen to me. Don't take no for an answer. Go get that second opinion. It may well change your life. Save your life.
I know.
Absolutely.
I know. But listen, on to something a bit happier and a bit more upbeat.
Yes.
Legsy.
I can't believe this.
Legsy. Smoggy Queens has been renewed for a second season.
Oh my God, Smoggy Queens. Do you remember when you sent me the link for it?
I do, yeah.
And I started watching it. I could laugh. I could cry. It was so dark and sarcastic and gay and drag queeny. And it had that like undertone of there are some serious issues going on here, you know? So amongst all of this craziness and this madness and the glitter and couple of wee bits were a wee bit teary as well, but my God, was it I just, what did we say? They need to make a second series.
They had to. I mean, I'm delighted to see that it's back. And of course, if anybody hasn't listened to any of our previous episodes, they'll just for the heads up, we did cover off Smoggy Queens. We were really excited about the fact that Smoggy Queens was released. It's a comedy drama showcasing LGBTQIA friends. They come from Middlesbrough, and it did have a successful first season, right? It was on BBC 3, I think it was, from memory. And
yes, that's right.
We totally praised it for its authentic representation, and even the storylines, which were, I mean, in some part they were relatable, but they were just sometimes just daft bonkers.
Just really, the Titanic one was my
yes, the Titanic, the drag bingo at the Titanic,
and the two older queens fighting one another for the territory and stuff. And then your woman sitting marking her teeth with her big bingo tapper.
That's right. And she was wearing cheap makeup, and she was having an allergic reaction. And it's the day when what did you call the barman? Was it Dave or something, wasn't it?
Can I have your number? No. Don't even get. Oh, I'm not going to cry for all this laughing. I swear to God, no. It's. I just hope they make it even darker and funnier and sillier, and even more sarcastic. I mean, so obviously, well, season 2 has been confirmed. And the returning main cast, including Alexandra Mardell and Mark Benton.
I mean, Mark Benton as Ma. I mean, or Mam. Sorry, not Mam. His portray as a straight actor, I have to say. I mean, fair play to him. He did well. Camp as tits. Camp as absolute tits. But
that level of professionalism to get that right.
Yeah.
I mean, you just would have think that character to me has been in drag all her life. She really is a proper Middlesbrough drag queen mom.
Yeah,
you know, and it was so good, and the way it was shot, and then the gay clubs and the leather nights and all of that. Do you know what I mean? And then walking away with one of them was snug and Tinky Winky at the bar.
It's true.
Like,
it's true.
What?
But I think shows like this, and we did talk about it, but I mean, shows like this show how like authentic representation, especially, it does impact upon communities and mainstream acceptance. Because I know a lot of gay people, especially in the Belfast community, have been talking about Smoggy Queens, you know, and I've seen a lot of people online as well. But as you say, it was, I mean, although it was comedy and it was written from a place of comedy, there was a lot in there that was so relatable.
Completely. You know what? I think nearly every scene is almost exactly the same. It's just in a different city.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You've got your younger queens, your older queens, your new queens. You've got your fag hags. You've got your lesbians. You've got your, you know, and you know the shows and the pride events and the drama and the guest list, the VIP guest list. One person on it. You know, and I was so ridiculous. So, and then the drama with the ex-boyfriend going off with the new pretty boy because
and as you say, hopefully we get, you know, a bit more humor, deeper stories, and even more outrageous drama.
Oh, please, because I will listen. Here's something else I'd like to talk to you about.
Oh,
here's something that I've just been thinking about. It's kind of a social media showdown.
Okay, right.
It's Threads versus X, formerly known as Twitter. Yeah, exactly. Now, which one is that for Threads?
It's
or
for
is that
both
for
of
X?
them. They're
Is
both.
that for both of them?
They're both
Yeah.
a cesspool of vileness. I mean, Threads maybe not so much, but
No,
X
not Threads.
certainly.
X, yes.
Threads I've
Well,
tried to use, but I've not been able to get into it.
no, well, I do have it, and at the beginning it was kind of nice, and then it was kind of sort of a shadow of Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah.
And obviously, being an older queen now, and I do struggle with technology, I really do. And I try my best to keep up, but I'm not going to, sit and waste hours of my life just because everybody else knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
So, but what I found with Threads was, it's so impersonal, and it's like six packs, and it's just another beauty regimes, and it's like, oh, piss off.
Well, look, let me tell you about it from somebody that I would consider myself as tech savvy. From my point of view, I find it quite challenging to use.
Do you?
Yeah, just I think one of the things I really struggle with is when you go in to read a comment, like in a typical application, when you click on a comment and you want to see the thread of comments about that particular post, Threads lists all the comments, but then it lists more comments that aren't part of the original comment that you clicked on, and I don't know, I just find myself getting lost in it sometimes,
Right. Yeah.
But,
well, I wonder if our viewers, do they actually have Threads, and do they use it on a regular basis? Would they recommend it? Would they encourage other people to use it? Or would our listeners and viewers maybe have Threads and, like myself, just think, do you know, that's useless having, that's taking up space on my phone?
I would go with the latter, I think, and that was certainly with my view anyway,
Whereas X, formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, no,
and that's me saying that, and I'm not
Yeah.
easily shocked. There's some of the stuff on there is ridiculous, and I think of the poor teenagers and the kids, and they can quite easily access all of that at the touch of a button.
I think it's became very,
Filthy.
I want to say right wing, but I don't even know if that's right. Look,
It is.
It's
It really is.
There's
It's
a
owned
lot
by
of
Elon Musk.
There's a lot of extreme views on there. Whatever happened to just sort of like uploading photographs of your lunch and dinner and like, do you know what I mean?
No, if you're going for a meal and you're happy, just go to the restaurant and tell us. You don't even have to tell us you're going for your dinner. You don't have to tell us what you had for breakfast. You don't have to take a photograph of a Subway half eaten in your hand and say, "I was stinking."
Yeah.
Just, you know what I mean? It's like, oh God, and by the looks of you, you'd never say no to the heel of a plain loaf. Way on.
I mean, I know that Threads, being owned by Facebook, it was designed to position itself kind of more of a personal advertisement light version of X, right? Formerly known as Twitter. But it is designed to appeal to more users looking for the likes of thoughtful discussion and community building. But I don't see that. I just see more of the same, like, really.
Yeah, it's like a guy with an 8-pack, incredibly good looking, girls a size 0, big boobs, and everything else is big. And it's like, say hello to me and give me a heart, and I will send you something in your DMs. Why? What, money? Are you going to send me money? And I said, and sometimes I would click and I would go, okay, let's see if this works, and go, hello, and a heart and a wavy hand. Nothing.
Yeah.
It's a fix. It's a fix. On the other hand, X remains popular though for breaking news, trending topics, and instant virality despite recent controversies. I mean, it's full of controversies.
Oh God,
X
yeah.
is dodgy, dangerous, and it's like, I mean, there's no holes barred.
No, definitely.
I mean, if you're into a wee bit of easy porn on the train, on the tube, you can just put your speakers in and hold your phone there.
First of all, did you hear about the politician that was sitting on the tube watching porn? And of course, whenever the lights are on the tube and it's dark outside, you actually get a reflection off the window behind them. So even though he thought he was sitting watching porn and nobody else could see, people who were standing up behind him could actually see his phone in the reflection on the window.
Oh my God.
Scundered to 100.
Oh my God.
I know.
That's wild.
I know.
That's wild. And is Threads really the kinder alternative, do you think?
I I mean, it's a kinder alternative, yes. I would think. I think that I haven't seen anywhere near as much vileness on Threads than what I've seen.
Or let me put it another way.
Yeah.
Do you think Threads will eventually overshadow X, or is the culture of X too deeply ingrained?
I know a lot of people that have cancelled their X accounts, celebrities as well. So I think, yeah, a lot of people have flocked to Threads from X.
Because X is so bad.
Like just because it's really toxic, and it's
very much so.
You know, it's always kind of pushing the extremist agenda. I think Elon Musk sort of said, wasn't it, that he is all for free speech, but yet likes to censor what people say on X.
On X.
So it's kind of like you can't say that this is a true public forum, but yet still ban people for having, you know, kind of opposing views. But I don't know. I don't really use X. I don't really use Threads. Maybe we're giving it more thought than we really need to. But listen, here's a bit of the news that I read this week.
Dun, dun, dun.
£530 million, £500 million worth of cocaine was seized from a submarine, right?
What?
So I read this during the week, and I thought I have to talk to you about this because this is going to be funny. International authorities had intercepted 6.5 tons, right? 6.5 tons of cocaine worth 530 million from what they call, or what they've dubbed, a narco submarine in the Atlantic Ocean. Now, it just this is all a brand new level of sophistication and scale when it comes to drug smuggling operations. Like,
right, everybody go to Hounds Bay. We're all going to Hounds Bay.
From what I understood, it was actually the Portuguese authorities that caught them off the coast of Portugal. It was coming from somewhere like Brazil or Colombia or something. I mean, Colombia is the obvious one, but I think it was actually coming from Brazil. But here, what about that? Drug traffickers are really, like, they're up in the ante. They're buying submarines now.
Yeah, because I think that, you know, obviously all bases are covered when it comes to land and air and boat. Now they're actually going underwater in order to transport this. But you know what? To find that amount, you know, there's obviously somebody sitting going tweet, 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 tweet. However, that could be a decoy, because it could be an even bigger fancy submarine going the other way with even more on it, you know. I think it's absolutely that's £500 million worth of cocaine. The United Kingdom's going to be dry for 6 months. Everybody's head is going to get back to normal. Everybody's going to be clean for the summer. There'll be none got anywhere, and if anybody has any, hold on to it, because you're about to make a fortune.
It's like when there's a shortage of oil or gas, the prices just go up.
Price go up. You know, you probably get about £1,000 for a sniff. For you know, like a sweet baby finger. Here you go. How much? Right, that's 1,000.
But it does show you just the effectiveness, like, of global cooperation on the war on drugs. I'm sure there's been some sort of camera in the sky or something that has spotted it in the water or whatever. But that tickled me. I thought that was something that I had to bring up. Like, just I can imagine your thought on this. Like, there's half of Europe are now going to be starved from their cocaine addiction.
Oh, they're starved and above and beyond, and now they're all going, oh God, what are we going to do?
Well, here's what will happen. Fast food outlets, first of all, are going to be the first people to benefit, because people are going to want to eat again.
Yes, they're gonna put on a little bit more weight now, and they're going to get a little bit more sensible, and they're probably, do you know what I mean? Oh, and society will get that little bit sort of less tense. You know, and there'll be I'm dumbfounded at the very fact that amount has been found. But you know what? It's also really, really frightening that level of amount of cocaine was going somewhere.
Yeah, but as you said, you're probably right. There could have been three of those. There could have been three of those. One for the UK, one for Portugal, and one for the north coast of Africa or something. You know, that way. Like
one for UK, one for France, and the other one for Helens Bay.
They'd have to go a long way, right?
because the 12th is coming. I'll be at the front. So I will, honestly. Here's another little thing I'd love to talk about. Now, I don't know whether you're a fan or not of the Real Housewives franchise.
I've never watched an episode. Now, my friend Mark is really big into all of the Real Housewives, but I've never watched an episode. The
only one I watch is at the moment the Real Housewives of I can't remember, Cheshire.
Right, okay.
And it's the English one, and it is quite good. But all the rest of them is just, shut up. It's
big
so
franchise,
samey.
though, isn't it? It's
massive franchise,
yeah.
massive. I remember when I watched it way years ago when it all first started. It was pretty raw, and it was really, really good. But now you can sort of predict what's going to happen. You know, we're all going on a girls' holiday, and we're all going to get along. You're not. You're going to fight. You're going to make up lies. You're going to hate each other, and then you get to reunion, and they all scream at one another, and then it's over. However, about 7 or 8 years ago, character from the Real Housewives of New Jersey, Teresa Giudice. So she was married to a guy called Joe, and they were found to have committed tax evasion.
Oh, right, okay.
So she got 11 months in jail.
Jeez.
And he got 41 months in jail.
Wow.
So they went separately. So she went in first, and then he stayed and minded the girl to four daughters. And then when she got out, he went in.
Flip, right, okay.
It was like $2 million they'd done.
Wow.
But when he was in, they discovered he's an illegal immigrant.
Oh gosh, right.
So
okay.
when he got out, he had to leave, and then they deported him right away.
Wow.
And then they ended up getting divorced. So Teresa has met this other guy. His name is Louis.
Okay.
And they got married.
Right.
And everybody has been telling Teresa Giudice, stay away from him. He's a gangster. He's a crook. Look at all his ex-partners, all his ex-wives. Look at the amount of children he has. She wouldn't listen. She got married. And know what she done? There's no prenup.
Oh, no. Okay.
And Teresa Giudice of the Real Housewives of New Jersey and her husband, Louis Reales, face a $3 million in tax liens. And Teresa previously served 11 months for fraud, as I said, related to the very same charges. And here she is back. I mean, why would you go down that path again? You know, and no matter how much I love someone, if I was married and that happened to me 5 years ago and I spent 11 months away from my girls and my home and my family and my life, I would be looking at someone and thinking everybody was right. How did I get here?
Oh, it's like double jeopardy. Can they prosecute her again for this? I suppose they can.
Yeah.
Can't they?
Wow, they can.
Okay. Wow.
And they've obviously been watching her and they've been watching him. You know, it's... it really is. I mean, the blurred lines between reality TV personas and real life accountability is just stifling.
Yeah, yeah.
Really
and you would think for those, it's just one thing that always kind of baffles me though, is like people with this amount of money, and maybe I'm being a bit naive, but it's like people with this amount of money find themselves on the wrong side of tax. Surely they have an accountant. Surely you could afford a pretty good accountant to help reduce your tax liability rather than just not pay your money. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, you're going to have to pay your way, but it's crazy. Like,
well, it's the glamorization of a luxury lifestyle versus the harsh reality of financial responsibility.
Well, this is it, isn't it? If you're going to go out and you're going to buy all these expensive things, you need to pay your taxes, people. Pay your taxes.
Yeah, pay your tax, pay your stamp, pay your stamp. Now, I want to touch on a wee kind of something. This is kind of a wee tiny bit personal. Don't like to get too personal. Okay. However, last week we celebrated and we remembered 2 years since the passing of the one and only Mr. Paul O'Grady. Lily Savage.
Oh.
Yeah. It was 2 years and I miss him. I miss him on TV. And do you know something? His widower recently shared a video of Paul's final kind of sort of message. And it was filmed 20 minutes before he passed away.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And he was thanking everybody because he wrote a new book, and the book was based on his little dog.
Oh, okay.
Ollie.
Was it like a children's book or something, was it? Or?
It was a children's book.
Okay.
It was about this dog and the journey this dog went on, and the dog being loved and the dog loving back. They had a split. on the sofa, because it's okay, because the husband had told this unloose woman, he said, we sat on the sofa, we had a little bit of a smoke, and they went, oh, and they were like, shut up. He got up, he went into the kitchen, and he dropped dead.
Oh, goodness.
But he didn't hear that. So he waited, and he was like, what's keeping him? And he went in, and then he found him, and he was lying there, and so sudden. But to think 20 minutes earlier, he was sitting on the sofa with his wee dogs all around him, and he was saying, thank you so much for supporting this book. Thank you so much for supporting me and my husband and the charity and everything else, because he was a patron ambassador for
Battersea's Dog Home, wasn't it?
Battersea's Dog Home, that's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. And Paul's lasting legacy as an entertainer and LGBTQ plus advocate, an animal welfare champion, will never be forgotten.
I agree. He will stay. I hopefully that he transcends time and is just as somebody that's always, he's up there with the big names, like Danny LaRue and all those.
And his best friend, Cilla Black.
Cilla. I bet you the
and
pair
Barbara
of them.
Windsor.
I bet you them. Actually, I forgot about Barbara, but I bet you the three of them are causing havoc.
Yeah. Do you remember when they done the Royal Variety performance? Gotta get a gimmick.
Can I tell you something?
Gotta get ahead.
That is probably one of the most watched videos on my YouTube, because my darling husband, after a night out, we always end up falling down some kind of Paul O'Grady YouTube hole, and that's the one that always comes. That and the outtake from him doing Blankety Blank, where he was asked to read out like a monologue, and he was like, "Oh, do I have to?"
And then he went off on a tangent, and he was just sitting there, and he had his legs crossed, and this is where I kind of sort of get that, the tantrum from, because he was just so annoyed and so wound up and and he was just sitting there and he was like, I can't read that fucking thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, this is a load of shit, innit?
This is a load of shite. And then people walked in halfway through, and what are you doing? You only come in here for a bit of free heat. I just loved all of that. He was groundbreaking for me. He was Lily Savage will be my drag queen hero till the day I die. When I seen Lily doing it, and it was Kathy who went and bought me his first ever VHS video cassette of him in drag doing a show, and I was just mesmerized.
Yeah.
Mesmerized.
Such an amazing entertainer. And I'm very fortunate to have got to see him on stage. He done the panto at the Palladium. One year that Gary and I went, and it was him and Julian Clary, and they were, talk about off script. Amazing. But they were so good. But I'm very fortunate I got to see him. Although not being in a drag capacity, but as an entertainer, he was very, very funny. Yeah. Very funny. We're nearly out of time, by the way, but I just wanted to very quickly, I wanted to have just a bit of a rant before we wrap this up.
Okay.
So recently was Red Nose Day. And Gary, as a primary school teacher, is responsible for organising the collection of red noses. So naturally, there's kids in school. Red noses are now like £3 each or something. They got quite expensive.
My God.
But the kids were asked to bring in their money for these red noses, and there's about 300 kids in the school. So Gary now has about £1,000 coins, right? Because everybody brought in £3 coins. Mm-hmm. Can we actually get those pound coins? Can we go to a bank anywhere? No. We're not. We don't bank with Ulster Bank. We actually bank with HSBC, and went into HSBC. The only HSBC branch in town is what they refer to as a digital branch, and they do not accept pound coins. They'll take your notes, but they'll not take your pound coins. Now we do have an account with NatWest, so we did try to go into Ulster Bank, but you need like a gyro book to pay into an Ulster Bank. So here he's sitting here with like £1,000 coins that he can't do anything with. Like bonkers. And the post office, where you're supposed to be able to do everyday banking, will not take pound coins either. But like, this got me thinking, and I'm quite annoyed because I had to go the whole way into town with carrying this lunchbox of coins, only to be told that we couldn't actually take them. But do you think that we're moving too quickly towards now a cashless society? I know we spoke way back on one of our very first episodes about this, but like this really irked me. Like that. Well,
that's the first I've heard firsthand that they're not accepting coins. Mm-hmm. And I think it's going way too fast. And I think it's also another kind of sort of scope so that Big Brother can watch what you're doing, where you're going, what you're spending, where you're spending.
Yeah.
Everything. And I think it's just a wee bit too impersonal. And I actually quite like taking out, a good bit of money and then spending it, because you spend less quicker.
Yeah.
So you do. And all they want you to do, they're trying to encourage, I believe, people to spend much, much more, much, much quicker. You see it online, pay for it.
Yeah.
You see it online, you pay for it.
Yeah.
You see it in the shop, you walk in, you go, beep, you're in the red, who cares, give me it, I want it.
Yeah.
And whereas if you have cash, you will be careful.
Yeah.
Cash, you can't beat cash, but that really saddens me to hear that.
But he the last time they done this, he went to the Tesco, not Nagoni Tesco, and they have a coin star machine in there. This is where you take all your change and you throw it all in a machine and it counts it all for you.
Money.
12.9% commission. So that basically means if he walks in with £1,000, they'll take £100 off him just for processing that. Isn't that bonkers?
Yeah.
It really, really annoyed me, but it just shows now the inconvenience. Like there's nowhere. I mean, partly this is our own fault because we don't have a local bank. I'm sure if we had an Ulster Bank account or a Northern Bank account or wherever, Barclays or whatever, there's a counter service, we could have got it changed, but we didn't really ever imagine that we would be in a position where we walk into an actual branch of a bank being told, no, we're digital only. We'll only take your notes, but we'll not take your coins. Madness.
Oh my
Absolute
God,
madness.
Yeah. It's discriminatory.
Anyway, right, let's wrap it up, Lexi, because we've got to be getting on here.
And that's your quick sip of gossip, news and all the things topical today on the G&T Sips and Giggles. One for the road, Glenn Darling. What's our takeaway today?
Our takeaway today is this. Ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, theys, gays, queers, dears, check your skin regularly. Be smart with your cash. If anybody tries to pay you in £10 coins, tell them no. I'll have the £10 note, thanks. And remember, behind every headline is a real life story. So stay kind. As Tina always says, stay kind, stay curious, and be fabulous. And until next time, chin, chin, chin. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of G&T Sips and Giggles. If you've enjoyed our conversation, then don't forget to share it with your friends, and why not subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. Your reviews mean the world to us and really help others find the show, so please take a moment to leave one, but be kind. If you'd like to support the podcast, why not consider joining us on Patreon? For the cost of a drink a month, you can listen to episodes early, access exclusive digital content, and get discounts to upcoming G&T shows. Your support helps us keep the conversation flowing. Cheers, we'll see you next time. Chin chin.